In the beginning of 2024, I made my top 20 Mets prospect list. Well, as we're approaching the end of June, let's take a look at how those prospects are doing. And welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm WA2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So today we're going to talk a little New York Mets baseball, but specifically the minor leagues. So you could go to all kinds of different websites, and they've got their prospect lists for each team, the top 20 here, the top 30 there. I made my top 20 list earlier this year, broke that down into a couple of videos. So I figured at the midpoint of the season, it was a good time to go back, see how these 20 players are doing, and just kind of get a vibe for how things are going. So let's start right away with number 20. It was left-handed pitcher Luis Rodriguez. If you're saying, who is that? I don't blame you. So Rodriguez was somebody that was looking to be pretty set to take off. In 2022, he had a 1.41 ERA in 32 innings in single A. Unfortunately, in March of 23, he underwent Tommy John surgery. Then this past August, he gets shut down again due to forearm inflammation, and he wound up getting released earlier this year, as it turns out. So right now, he's not even a Mets prospect anymore. So, yeah, move that one aside. Let's go straight to number 19 on my list. Now, the Mets list had him ranked at number 12, and that's shortstop Jeremy Rodriguez. So he came over from Arizona in the Tommy Pham trade. So last year, he went on a tear for the Dominican Summer League team, went 19 for 45. That's batting .422 with 8 extra base hits, 11 walks, only 4 strikeouts in 13 games. Now, this is his first year of pro ball. In 32 games, batting .281, 750 OPS, only 2 home runs, but 11 steals. So we're seeing some raw tools. He seems to be working his way up the prospect list. But again, he's only 17 years old. I mean, he still can't get into an R-rated movie by himself, I don't think. So he's really that raw piece of clay that will take a couple of years, but you're seeing some good signs early on. Now, my number 18 prospect was ranked 21 on the Mets prospect list on their website, and it's Jesus Baez. This is a guy who's starting to show some potential, and I'm pretty excited about him. Great right-handed power. He's 19 years old. In St. Lucie, he's already hit 10 home runs in 64 games this year with 14 doubles and a triple. He's batting .262, so pretty respectable average, with a 782 OPS. That's pretty good, and his strikeout rate is only 15%. I'll take that from a 19-year-old with some big-time power. Now, he doesn't have much speed, but he has a very good, very strong throwing arm. Originally, he was signed as a shortstop. He's really going to be playing third base for most of his career. But Jesus Baez, a young slugger to watch over the next couple of years. Number 17 on my list was number 22 on the Mets prospect list, and that's Calvin Ziegler, right-handed pitcher. You know, when I watched Ziegler pitch, I saw a good fastball that had some rise on it, a good 12-6 curveball, but a high walk rate. I felt this was a very much a boom or bust potential kind of pitcher, a very inconsistent potential kind of pitcher. Unfortunately, now the injuries are kicking in. Before 2023, he had bone spurs in his right elbow. That cost him some time. Then during his rehab, he tore his quadricep, and that kept him out for much of 2023. And now, earlier this year, he had to undergo Tommy John surgery. So he should be back in 2025 at some point during the year. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely a step back as it's cost him a key year of development. Number 16 on my list was Justin Jarvis, the right-handed pitcher acquired from Milwaukee last year in exchange for Mark Hanna. I figured he would be at Binghamton this year, but he's actually made it to AAA Syracuse. One of the things I was watching for were the home run balls, because when he isn't locating his fastball, he's prone to giving up a home run. Now, in AA, he was pitching pretty well, a 3.28 ERA and a 0.84 whip. If you have a whip under 1, that's pretty good. Now, he's had only 3 games in AAA thus far, pitching 12 innings, but his ERA has been 6, a 1.75 whip, allowed 3 home runs in those 12 innings. Now, it's an adjustment when you go from Binghamton to Syracuse. Syracuse is known as a very hard pit park to pitch in. So Jarvis is starting to feel that. But the thing is, Jarvis also pitched 31 innings in Syracuse last year. It's not as if it's his first time there. Now, maybe he could work his way up to the majors eventually and be sort of like that mop-up kind of man. He gives the Mets upper-level pitching depths a little bit of help, but he is already 24 years old, so you have to wonder how much better can he really get. He may be a career AAA, quadruple A type of player. Now, number 15 on my list was Ronald Hernandez, the catcher acquired from Miami in the David Robertson trade last year. He is 20 years old down in St. Lucie. He was ranked number 20 on mets.com. Now, the word is he has great defensive abilities, excellent in calling the game, works with pitchers well, good bat, but not a special bat. Well, he's hitting .290 so far, 776 OPS with 9 doubles and 3 home runs. So haven't seen a whole lot of power thus far, but all signs are pointing upward for Ronald Hernandez. Of course, the Mets have a pretty darn good catcher already, but hey, if he winds up being a career backup for Alvarez, nothing wrong with that. Number 14 on my list was Brandon Sproat, who was ranked 13 on mets.com. And if there's one prospect zooming up the rankings, this is the one. Sproat, if you were doing this list right now, would easily be top 10. He's 23 years old, but it is his first year of pro ball. Now, in his 2 starts prior to his last outing on Thursday, Sproat struck out 18 of the 34 batters he faced with 53%. That is nuts. And the thing with the Mets system is you have good starting pitching. You have some depth there, but you're a little bit hard-pressed to find that starting pitcher with legitimate ace potential, and Sproat may become that now. All right, he's got that 6'3" frame. He has a 4-pitch mix to use to get batters out. Now, he's already advanced from high A Brooklyn to Binghamton. In Brooklyn, he had a 1.07 ERA in 25 innings. Yeah, I'd say he was ready. And now in Double A, you've got a 2.27 ERA, and in 35 innings, he's allowed 4 home runs. So that's been a little bit of an issue, but he has 40 strikeouts to just 8 walks, and opposing hitters are hitting only 180 against him. So Sproat's making a bit of an adjustment to Binghamton, but you're seeing good signs there. I'm excited to see what he's going to do the rest of 2024. Now, number 13 on my list was Dom Hamill, right-handed pitcher, number 14 on mets.com. 2022 was a successful season for Hamill. He was named Pitcher of the Year. He pitched in throughout the Single-A system. Now, this year he's been in Syracuse in Triple-A. It is not going well for Dominic. 6.99 ERA in 13 starts or 56 innings. So he's averaging just over 4 innings a start. 7 home runs allowed, 56 strikeouts to 42 walks. He is not having a good season whatsoever. Hamill this is starting to be a bit of a downturn for him. Number 12 on my list was Jacob Reimer, third baseman, number 15 on mets.com. Unfortunately, Reimer has missed the whole year with a hamstring injury. We have not seen him play yet, but he is a third baseman, has shown some good raw power. So he is depth right now, but unfortunately, he has not played a game yet in 2024. Number 11 on my list was also number 11 on Mets.com, and that's Mike Vasil, the right-handed pitcher, 24 years old. Now, at the beginning of the season, a lot of people projected Vasil as the most pro-ready pitcher. It hasn't gone too well in Syracuse. You're noticing a pattern here. These pitchers struggling in Syracuse. 6.75 ERA in 53 innings, a 1.67 whip, 12 home runs allowed, and a 299 opponent batting average. Not a very good year for Vasil, and that there's a reason why Christian Scott was promoted before he was. Speaking of Christian Scott, well, he was number 10 on my list before the year. And my concern, the reason why I didn't have him ranked higher was he looked like a 2-pitch pitcher. I felt he was going to need that third pitch to really make it in the majors. Very good fastball, very good slider, but I felt he would need more to be a starter. Well, I'll tell you what, the 2023 Mets Pitcher of the Year, boy, I guess the secret's out. He is the only pitcher who's able to succeed in AAA. 2.82 ERA in 38 innings, a 0.89 whip, 52 strikeouts to 9 walks. That is some good control. And in the 3 starts he's had since going back down from the majors, He has not pitched more than 5 innings, but he's been very effective. And I think it's pretty clear at this point the Mets want to bring him back for a stretch run in the second half of the year, but they are concerned about his innings load. So clearly it's a situation where they want to manage him, and I definitely expect him to be back maybe around the All-Star break. Now, number 9 on my list was Blade Tidwell, another right-handed pitcher, ranked number 10 on Mets.com. Now, last year was Tidwell's first season of pro ball. Finished the year with St. Lucie, where he made a pair of postseason starts on the road to helping that team win the league championship. I expected him to be in Brooklyn by the second half. Well, he's already in Syracuse. He's already in AAA already, but he has not been very good. In 21 innings in Syracuse, his ERA is north of 5. His whip was 1.07 in AA. It's 1.57 in AAA. 6 home runs allowed. You can see pretty much every pitcher, aside from Scott, struggles when they get to Syracuse. He's probably another year or so away from the majors, 2025 maybe. I think he could be in this rotation in 2026 full-time. So Tidwell was number 9 on my list. Number 8 was Alex Ramirez. He was only number 16 on Mets.com. Now, a 21-year-old outfielder has great raw talent, but it seems like he's having some trouble putting it all together. Now, I felt when I did the video on him previously, he would start in Brooklyn, but he should get to Binghamton before the year is out. He needed to shore up his running game, knowing when to steal, when not to steal, and how to get better with his plate discipline. Well, Ramirez has been in Binghamton all year. It hasn't gone great. 235 at-bats in 60 games, 243 batting average, 679 OPS, only 3 home runs, 24 stolen bases. About the only thing to be excited about right now are the stolen bases. You know, he's been dropping down the Mets rankings a little bit. And at 21 years old now, you start to get a little bit concerned about him. It's great that he's fast, but if you're not on base, of what good is your speed? All right, the number 7 on my list, Marco Vargas, number 8 on Mets.com. The other prospect acquired along with Ronald Hernandez from Miami in the David Robertson deal. Very advanced hitter for being a 19-year-old. He has a very good ability to recognize pitches and use the opposite field. In St. Lucie, hasn't been a great start, 239 batting average, a 668 OPS isn't going to jump off the page. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he is playing good defense and is showing, decent speed. But he's definitely making that adjustment to rookie balls. So, yeah, Vargas, expecting a little bit more. Now, Colin Houck is pretty similar. I have him at number 6. He was drafted in the first round by the Mets not that long ago. He's got a great combination of strength and bat speed with right-handed power. Now, in St. Lucie, he's batting only 202, 624 OPS, but again, 19 years old. And it's just a reminder, it takes a lot of these kids a couple of years to really put everything together. It's a big adjustment going from college or from, one of the Latin, junior leagues coming into the States and playing pro ball. So Colin Houck, I have at number 6, not really jumping out just yet. And speaking of prospects who are not doing very well, Kevin Parada, I had at number 5. And it was a very tentative number 5. He was ranked number 9 on Mets.com. And like guys like Ramirez and Ziegler, this ranking is going to fall. The catcher played in St. Lucie, Brooklyn, and Binghamton in 2023. Now, this year, it's been all Binghamton in AA. He's batting 206, a 645 OPS. Here's what's bothering me. In 189 at-bats, he has struck out 71 times. And at 22 years old, I think he's gone from a top 5 prospect 2 years ago to maybe outside the top 15 when the next rankings are out. I just don't have a lot of hope for Parada. I don't know if any other team does, but if you're looking at trading a prospect, I would trade this one while you can still get something decent for him. Number 4 on my list was also number 4 on Mets.com, and that's Ryan Clifford. 2023 was his first year in pro ball. He played Class A. Now in Binghamton, he was promoted. Over his last 12 games, he's batting 211, a 968 OPS, 3 home runs, 4 doubles. He has 8 home runs in his last 32 games. But if you look at the month of June alone, Clifford is really putting it together. Batting 282, a 482 on-base percentage, and his slugging percentage is 846. That is fantastic. That's like Kyle Schwarber-esque. Okay, now as far as defense goes, I think he would be best off at first base. If Pete Alonso does wind up leaving, Clifford is somebody who could step in. Now, I don't know if he's going to get to Syracuse in 2024. A lot of good players there. He may need the rest of the year in Binghamton. I know the batting average does not look great, but it's been getting much better, and the pure power that he has is undeniable. Undeniable. Number 3 for me is going to be Luis Angel Acuna Jr. You know, the speed and defense were never a question with him. It was about getting on base, about his plate discipline. Well, much like Ryan Clifford, Acuna is getting better and better. His season average is up to about 261, but over the last 36 games he's played, Acuna is hitting 301, 357 on base, 399 slugging with 2 home runs, 7 doubles, a triple, 14 RBIs, 15 stolen bases, 759 OPS, 32 runs scored, and he has a 16-game on-base streak going. So Acuna is sort of like that Swiss Army knife. You can plug him in almost anywhere on the field. And obviously with Francisco Lindor in New York at shortstop, Acuna might be best off either at second base or center field. Most scouts seem to think he's going to go to second base. I could see the Mets calling him up the way Jeff McNeil's been struggling if they really want to do that. I don't think it's going to happen because Brett Beatty's been playing a lot of second base. I think ideally the Mets want Beatty at second for right now, Mark Vientos at third base, and get these guys as many at-bats as possible. But the signs for Acuna are incredibly encouraging. Now to the top 2. Number 2 for me was for Drew Gilbert, just as it was on Mets.com. Now the frustration kicks in. So Gilbert was acquired with Ryan Clifford in the trade for Justin Verlander. And what's so frustrating is in 2023, Gilbert hit the ground running when he joined the Mets. In Double-A, he had a 984 OPS, good speed, good defense, great effort and hustle. And then in April this year, after 7 games, suffers a hamstring injury. The expectation was late June for his return. Now it's early to mid-July, so probably another 2 weeks before he gets back into a game, maybe 3 weeks. And that is pretty frustrating because, you know, if he was healthy, I think DJ Stewart, much as I've liked DJ Stewart in the past, I think Gilbert would be up and Stewart might be DFA'd at this point. I think that would have been very realistic. But, yeah, he's probably going to need the rest of the year probably in Syracuse, I would imagine. And number 1 on my list, as it was on Mets.com and many other places, was Jet Williams. I expected him to start this year in Binghamton and get to Syracuse. Unfortunately, towards the end of April, he dealt with right wrist soreness, and he has not played a game since April 21st. He's had 2 cortisone injections. They have not brought him back to full health, so he underwent surgery on June 6th, and Williams is expected to be back on the field sometime in August. So for the top 2 prospects, injuries have really kept them out. And several of these prospects have not even gotten on the field at all this year. But there are some signs for encouragement with several guys like Clifford, Acuna, and Sproat in particular. So I got to say I was hoping for a little bit more with some of these prospects. But, you know, there is genuine signs for encouragement as well. So that is kind of where these prospects are. And I can tell you, when we do the next top 20 list, it will look very, very different. Guys like Nolan McLean will most certainly be on the list. That's just one example. And guys like Luis Rodriguez will certainly not be around anymore. Well, that's sort of where these prospects are. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Reminder, we go live every Wednesday night. We've got one more – I believe it's one more 10 p.m. show on Wednesday. And then starting July 3rd, we will be going on the air at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.